Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Wednesday, January the 15th, race number 9 at Gulfstream Park. It's at a mile on the main track. Before we get to the analysis, what an opportunity at DRF.com, presented by our friends at Woodbine. It's the Horse of the Year Fan Vote Sweepstakes. Submit your vote for a chance to win a trip to the Queen's Plate at Woodbine. It could be the brilliant Bricks and Mortar, the magnificent Maximum Security, the mighty Matoli. Send your vote in, drf.com/eclipse. Here's the field for Wednesday's race of the day. 1-turn mile, entry-level optional claimer. You can download free formulator past performances for this race on the race of the day event page at drf.com. Access them, handicap along with us. Let's see who our friends at Timeform US believe will be on the lead after the first quarter mile or so. We've got Flashing Diamond, the 2, and I would have to agree. Flashing Diamond looks like a need-to-lead type who has excelled recently in these 1-turn mile races.
Yeah, she's won 3 of her last 6, and all 3 of those wins when she got loose early and just blew fields out. So I'm assuming those will be the tactics for Irad Ortiz once again.
Now, a horse expected to come from last, and I'm not sure I agree with this, is the one Gorgeous in Rags, who's stretching out back to a mile. Gorgeous in Rags has just been stymied by slow paces in her last few races, Mike. You look at her lifetime mark, 1 for 10, 3 seconds. I don't really think it tells the whole story about this horse's ability.
I kind of agree with you there. Her lone win when she broke her maiden at Ella, she was last early in that race, but she made an early move in there. And since then, she's shown an ability to keep close to the pace. If they go fast early, I guess it won't matter. But I think she can stay close, Dan. And she just got in against a really sharp winner last time.
And Nona Madeline was very, very good that day, running away from the field going 7. I like this mare getting back to a mile. As for Flashing Diamond, we've talked about her. She's seeking her 10th lifetime win. She's also taking a pretty solid step up in class from the Florida-bred optional claiming ranks, and not too many horses have come out of that race to do very well.
Yeah, I mean, she has those 3, sort of recent blowout wins, 3 of her last 6. But it feels like whenever they step her up in class, she finds it a little bit tougher. I wonder how she'll handle this, Dan. I'm not, way against her necessarily, but it is a pretty significant step up in class for her.
And this has been her distance. Her last 2 1-turn mile races at Gulfstream, she has won by a combined 15 3/4 lengths. The number 3 is Canteen, very lightly raced, daughter of Candy Ride, expensive yearling, trained by Chad Brown, making her first start off about a 2.5-month layoff. Last time out, she was 2-1. She was very, very wide. She must have been on the 4 path all the way on the backstretch through the turn. She finished evenly. I think she still has a step forward, but I think you could look at her and say she's been a little bit of a disappointment in her career, losing 3 times at 2-1 or less, and the only victory came over muddy going.
Yeah, true enough. I mean, I guess we'll see what happens, Dan. I didn't really like either of her races back in 2018 when she was a 2-year-old. I was sort of way against her when she did break her maiden off that long layoff last October. She won that race pretty impressively. She was much the best in there. I guess the argument for her last race is she was never going to win. My Bronx Tale just sort of got loose on the lead and never gave that field a chance. But I don't know, how much running did she really do? I just don't know how good she is, Dan, and she's a really short price on the morning line.
I want to go back to Flashing Diamond real quick because her last race we have queued up and she just went right to the front and dominated. And again, these horses have not come back to do very well. But this is a mare that loves Gulfstream. We saw her get a little bit green when popped with the right-handed stick. Jock decides we're not going to do that anymore and she's off to the races. She gets the class test, but she's expected to make the lead and she's geared down under the wire. The number 4 is Fun Patty. Fun Patty's cross-entered in our Thursday race of the day on the turf. I think she's a better horse on the dirt. She's coming out of a weekend allowance race at Churchill Downs. She finished 5th that day, and the horses that finished ahead of her haven't done much since.
Yeah, I we'll see what happens with her. I'm not sure which race she fits better in. It's probably this one. I guess in her defense, if you just want to, look at her races, she's probably been in against better fields in her recent races. Maybe this is a little bit of a better spot, but it's not that much easier. She's got to improve, I think, to beat this field.
Third start off an August layoff for the 5, Yes Factor. And the last time she went third off the layoff following 2 sprints, she was odds on and she got beat when trying to stretch her speed the one and only time she attempted a mile. The mile, I think, has to be a little bit of a concern. She finished behind Gorgeous in Rags last time out, and I thought Gorgeous in Rags had a worse setup coming from further off a slow pace.
I did too. This horse actually got a really good trip in that race, I thought, sitting right in behind, and she just never looked like she had enough to be a real factor in that race. We'll see if she can improve. The distance has to be a question, especially, with that horse down on the inside who's expected to show speed.
Violent Trick, the number 6, makes her first start off the Jorge Navarro claim. Navarro for Ripoli's stable. This is what she did last time out in a $25,000 claiming race. She took no prisoners. She went right to the front on a day where I thought speed was pretty good at Gulfstream, and she's extending in the lane. In her prior races against non-claiming competition, it just hasn't gone together for Violent Trick, but she's now with Navarro, and we've seen Navarro turn horses' fortunes around in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll see what happens. He probably doesn't even have to really improve her, Dan. He's got to get her to run that last race back against better horses this time. 3 straight one-turn mile blowout wins against claiming horses. But when they try allowance races, it's a different story with her.
7 and the 8 are both going to try dirt for the first time. They're based up at Woodbine, which means their options are limited to synthetic and turf. Let's talk about the 7 Wagrite. Beautiful pedigree. This is a Tappet filly out of Irish Mission who is a nice turf and synthetic horse. There just doesn't appear to be a lot of dirt in this pedigree. We'll go back to her synthetic race 2 back. It was a maiden race around 2 turns. She's down towards the inside, saving ground, and she's going to grind this thing out and win it. I don't think she beat a very strong field in here. And just looking at her pedigree, I'm not sure a one-turn mile is what she wants. I think she may want a little bit more ground.
Yeah, she's bred to go a lot longer, and she's just bred to be a better turf horse. I mean, there's obviously a lot of quality in this pedigree. It's just not a pedigree that's slanted towards dirt at all, so it's hard to expect any improvement on the surface switch.
Conversely, the 8 Mystic Nile's got a little bit of dirt in her pedigree. She's by Pioneer of the Nile, and while the dam was a stakes winner routing on synthetic, she also did some good work on the dirt. Mystic Nile is a half to Lady Cohiba, multiple stakes winner on the dirt, and last time out, Mystic Nile ran into a horse Macho Bourbon that came right back to finish second in an allowance race with a 78 buyer on the synthetic. So it's kind of interesting giving her an opportunity here on dirt, and I like that Paco Lopez takes them out.
I mean, we'll just see if she can turn out to be a different horse on dirt, I guess. She's sort of attained a level on synthetic anyway. She just keeps running the same races over and over and about, that same figure range, upper 60s, lower 70s. I mean, that's obviously not going to get it done in here. Maybe she's a better dirt horse. She'll get a price if she is.
Admittedly, the number 9 Rosie Jersey is going to take a leap of faith. She's 20-1 on the morning line, but there's a way to look at her. Her most recent start off a long layoff on turf. Well, she doesn't have to like turf. 2 starts back, she ran in the grade 3 distaff where she was 85-1 against Come Dancing, and she's not going to compete against that kind of horse. 3 starts back, she was 43-1 in the $250,000 Empire distaff, and she's not that kind of horse. And then you go back 4 races, and there's the one and only race that puts her in the mix. It's an 85 buyer at the Finger Lakes. Can you throw those last 3 races out and say, here's Rosie Jersey?
I mean, you can make excuses for the last 3 to be sure. I guess the problem with doing that is the race prior to that where she got the 85, it stands out like a sore thumb on her PP. She's never run another race that's even close to that number, but she was winning races prior to that.
She was, but at Mountaineer and Mahoning Valley. Lady Kate is not out of this at all. Lady Kate has a really fascinating pedigree. Her dam Princess Hayat, very nice turf horse, has thrown some good turf horses, yet Lady Kate is by Bernardini, who was not a very good turf stallion. Lady Kate last time out I thought improved a little bit, although again she was the beaten favorite. I like her stretching out in here. Last time out, she finished ahead of a horse that came back to run second with a 77 buyer, albeit in a non-winner's a 2 life allowance over the poly track at Turfway. But she's green. I think there's something here. She obviously has the pedigree. It's too early to give up on her, and she's going to be a decent price.
I agree with all that stuff. I like her stretching out too. I really like her tactical speed. She's going to get a good trip in this race. I'm not, thrilled necessarily with her last 2 races. She got good trips in both of them, wasn't nearly good enough in either one. The horse that beat her last time was a huge price, 43-1. I don't know, Dan. I'm not way against it. I'm going to use this horse somewhere. I just don't fully trust it.
Timeform US has her perhaps in the catbird seat, chasing Flashing Diamond in the early portion, ready to get the jump on all these others turning into the stretch. Top pick time for our Wednesday race of the day, and Chad I trust. I thought the Canteen was very wide last time out. She would not have won with a clean trip, but I like that the buyer came up just a little bit. I think there's a forward move here, and I think this is just the right spot that he's found for an now winners of one other than. The price not very appealing. Maybe I can hook her up with some others. 3, 6, 10, 2 for me. You like the price. 8-1 Gorgeous and Rags. Hoping to get a fair pace scenario.
Yeah, I hope she gets a fair pace there and a good trip into it as well. I just think she's run a little bit better in her recent starts than it may look on paper.
It's your Wednesday DRF race of the day, the 9th at Gulfstream Park, 1 turn mile with an approximate post 4:30 Eastern. Best of luck.